Alright, so I picked up a couple of stowaways on the trip today. We're just out doing a few jobs. Actually, Melissa and I were doing a couple jobs together. You might not know this about her, but we actually built the house together a couple years ago, and she's really handy. Tink's also here with us. We got the popo. Oh, we got the popo. Is it legal to film while driving? I think it is. It's not the same as you know, talking on the phone or anything. We're gonna find out right now.
That's weird. Like the time you're on the cell phone.
All right, so one question from Melissa before we wrap it up here in Handyman land. Have you ever considered getting into the home building business again? Would you build another house?
Yeah.
Yeah? All right, we may have, whoa, that car was in my lane. Did you see that? All right, Melissa and I built a house together like 5 years ago, and she just signed up to build another one. So it's a possible thing in the future. So right in the middle of winter, the weather got really nice for a couple days, and I was just looking for jobs to do outside at our place, you know, just an excuse to be outside. And one of them was to install this solar light. I put it on the side of our barn so that it will illuminate our chicken coop during the night. We have lost a couple chickens lately during the day when they've been out free ranging, but I do want a little more light on that coop for when I go out there at night, just so I can see what's going on. Alright, here's your look at the light. These guys sent me this thing for free, and I try not to hype too much stuff on this channel. It's not that I don't have power in the barn. You know, I could have wired this up, but I just like these solar lights. They're pretty cool. I've got another one over here in this rain barrel light, and I've actually got them all over the place. Even this guy's a little solar light that's like 8 years old and still working. Anyway, it's hooked up here. Solar panel is facing south-ish. Not perfectly south, but a little bit southwest, but it's getting good light. And the light looks over here on the coop, so that way at night in the dark I can come out here and shut the chickens up and just have a little bit of light. And I don't think I've actually showed you guys the egg setup in here. So far it's been going pretty good. There's one that was just laying. All right, got a little clutch going on right now. There are 3, 6, 9 eggs. By the end of the day, we almost always have 12, sometimes 16. All right, now one other thing I've been doing lately is sorting through my screw collection. And this is something I do. I figure other people do it, but I was talking to a buddy of mine, Joe. He's recently retired, but he's been a handyman for a long time, done a lot of construction work and whatnot. Anyway, he was saying that he knows people who just take all their old screws and nails and fasteners and bolts and screws and whatnot and just throw them away when they pull them out of a job or whatever. Joe and I have it in common to sort those dang things and put them back in circulation, you know, use them again. And I don't know, once or twice a year, I bring all that stuff in the house and go through it, and next thing you know, you've got boxes of sorted screws and fasteners and bolts and whatnot that can go back into service. And then back out there on the job, I put my camera on just because I thought this one was kind of funny. I was replacing a light bulb in a ceiling light in the bathroom, like a really basic job. But dang, if that bathroom didn't have like a 15-foot high ceiling, so I had to bring an extension ladder in there. I could barely fit the ladder into the bathroom that was necessary to change the light. I also switched out one of these receptacles just so it was working right, and that job was all wrapped up, just had to squeeze that ladder back out the door. At the same place, I also installed 4 new ceiling lights. These are the LED kind of, you know, retrofit lights that you can put in a ceiling without having to access the attic space up above. And this is one of those living rooms. I don't know if you've seen one of these before, but one of those living rooms with no ceiling lights, just switch outlets. And if you are a lamp person, that's great. But if not, you've got no light. I think you reach a point with the vehicle where it is so covered in salt, like just inundated with salt, that it actually becomes salt. and you don't have to wash it off anymore. You know, the vehicle itself is made of salt. All right, lunch break, and time to play tennis ball with Tank. Here you go. Oh, is that my ball? Is that my ball? Oh, it's my ball. Go get it. Go get it. All right, here we go. So this is the 20th episode of these Handyman Diaries, and I started these videos just mainly really as a diary, like literally just to kind of put down in words some of the things I was thinking while doing these jobs. And you know, I gotta tell you, some days like today, for instance, I'm not thinking a whole lot. You know, I just gotta go do this job. I was over there this morning, got the wiring mainly done. One of the switches is a little bit fiddly. I've been thinking about that. I gotta get over there and tune it up. I got a dryer vent to put in. But you know, there's not a whole lot to it. I could try to reflect on the profound nature of driving from one part of town to another to fix somebody's house, but I don't know. Today it doesn't seem all that profound. I'm just out there doing the job. It did snow like a mother the last couple days, and the roads were just nasty last night, but right now you can tell they're not that bad, kind of mushed out and whatnot. All right, like I was saying, I installed those ceiling lights, and I just need to wire the last one up after lunch. And once I got that guy stuck in the ceiling, I flipped the breaker and then tested these guys at the switch. All right, the next job was to install a dryer vent. And as I mentioned before, this is what I'm calling the dryer vent that went nowhere. Not this new one. The new one's just the standard install, you know, through the wall, put in the vent housing, and then attached to the dryer. But I'm talking about the previous vent, and let me just describe it to you because it was wild. Now, this is a pretty new house, you know, new construction, probably the last 10, 15 years or whatever. And the existing vent was solid ductwork, you know, good stuff. And it went about 3 feet straight down into the basement, finished basement, and then you could feel, if you stuck your hand in the wall, you could feel that it was actually detached. So one install problem originally when the guys built this house was to not use screws and good tape when they attached that solid ductwork. You could feel there was just some crinkly, dry old duct tape down there, and it had become detached. So anyway, the dryer was basically venting into the wall, but that wasn't the only problem. The other thing was that nowhere on the perimeter of this house was there an exit for that vent system. So somewhere else, that vent just terminated in the wall, and you know, someone had put siding up or whatever, and they had never exited that vent. So it wasn't really an issue of the lint going in the walls. You know, that would actually be kind of insulating and not such a big deal. But the issue was all that moisture. You know, just imagine every dryer load of moisture going into those walls. Just kind of a crazy thought. But with that said, I didn't see water damage anywhere or evidence of mold or anything. So maybe because this house has forced air heat and good ventilation and an AC unit and a dehumidifier, you know, maybe the whole system of the house was kind of absorbing that additional moisture. Anyway, whatever. There's a new vent in there. I did not use rigid duct for this vent. I'd rather use the rigid stuff, but they were just like 3 turns and it was too tight, so I went with the flex hose. It's only about 4 feet long, so it should be easy to clean out in the future. Alright, the dryer vent that goes nowhere is no more. It's kind of a sad thing. It was just so creative to pump all the dryer moisture and lint and stuff into the walls of that house. But anyway, now they go outside. That's all done. Lights are done, and there are actually a million little jobs there. One of the funny ones is that I replaced the doorbell, and I used one of these kind of wireless gizmos you can get on Amazon now, and they're programmable with, like, you know, 50 different sounds. You know, I put it in yesterday. Today I rang the doorbell, and it was crowing like a rooster. So one of the kids had played with the doorbell and set it up to crow like a rooster. Anyway, you know, it's all the little special touches. That's what matters. All right, so it's 2 o'clock and I'm done with jobs for today. So I might be going through a little bit of a dry spell, but that's all right. I've got plenty of stuff to do back at the shop. All right, thanks for checking out my Handyman Diaries episode 20. Like I've said before, this is not necessarily how to do it. It's just how I did it. I'll see you in the next one.